Okay, so was so happy that the 357 almost beat the 565 that I decided to go right back into it. I've been in that damn 357 like 800 times now. Might as well make it 801. So, anyways, I went ahead and I did the exact same thing to it that I did to the Makita that worked so well. So the exhaust port, I widened it up just a hair. I mean, I had already widened this one up a good bit, but you can probably see there's just a little fresh mark on the side. So I just widened it up just a little bit more, and then I raised the intake. Now with these, there's not much of a chance of the ringland getting in there. However, I was scared and I lunged it like that. See, boy, it looks off center. Oh well. Anyway, so I was able to raise it a lot, like, about 1/8 of an inch, and I just, like I said, lunged it so that ring pin, the center pin, see, it's located right there in the middle. All right. There's no chance of that getting down there. I also went ahead and did the modifications to the carb. This time the solder worked a lot better. Got it really nice. And these screws, man, were big. The screw head was big, as well as the screw sticking out the other side was really big and noticeable. So, but let me get this open here. How am I going to get this? There we go. Got this one as well. So, because that screw head was so big and the tail of the screw was sticking out so far, I was really able to open up that carb. That, I find that makes a whopper of a difference. The carbs are so small anyways that any little material that you can take off really helps out. Oh, and I will say that this is the first time I've ever seen this. This screw right here goes all the way through. You can see the little hole down there on this side. And it was actually sticking out. So I ground that off. I backed the screw out, ground it off, cleaned up the threads, and put it back on there. So now the only thing left to do is to put it back together and see if it made a difference. All right, so here we are. We're back. It's all together. And we're going to see how it does in this cut now. Might have to do some tuning on it, of course. I'm going to really try and listen for the four-stroking. Suck me in? Gee, I'm gonna give it more fuel. feels stronger, but that's subjective. Only time can actually tell. I'm really anxious to know if it can beat the 565. Let's see if it restarts. I also felt that that's probably what did it. And this too. I felt like it was, the chain wasn't cutting. Whatever. I think we'll officially call it done right there, and not going back into it. It's running good, but you know, it's gonna take an actual day of work, real work, to actually see what this thing, you know, to tune it in right and everything, get it going good. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one more time because we're done with this log. It's only that big. I'm gonna cut it right down the middle and I'll make some firewood out of that. But yeah, she's running great. Going to try and pick those things up, so might as well split them while I'm here. Oh, come on. Usually when it does that, I find that the low jet is too lean. I'm sorry, too fat. Son of a bitch. I know you guys will say, sounds like it's got an air leak. And perhaps it does. But it's all new. If it has an air leak, then let me tell you, I have no idea for the life of me how to find it. Brand new carburetor, brand new intake, brand new intake manifold mount, I've had it apart a million times. I don't see any signs whatsoever of it leaking around the base. It's got new seals. Hell, maybe one of those crank seals is leaking. I don't know. I do believe they're made in China, crank seals. But I know that gives you all an excuse to say something, but just because it's made in China doesn't mean it's always bad. Maybe it's time to go to a better mechanic than me. Just straight up, you know. Dave, you had said you wanted to take a look at it. Maybe you want to see where it's leaking. I don't know. Strong as could be, though, let me tell you. She runs good. Runs very good when it's running. I'll say that. You know, and I've done stuff like this. I break the seal. See, the gas tank was pressurized, which means So I know it was pressurized because whenever I opened that cap, it went and it blew out towards me. So if the gas tank is pressurized, then it's going to be forcing fuel. See what I'm saying? Whenever your fuel vent is bad, that's whenever you can't draw fuel. Your fuel tank gets almost in a vacuum, you know, and it can't draw fuel then. So the fact that it just shot out at me, that tells me the fuel tank was pressurized because of all this heat, you know. So that's not the issue. Anyways, it's definitely good enough to get some cuts out of, because it's running very strong. And let's go to the tape and see if it actually made a difference between the 565 and this, you know, if it was able to beat the 565. Okay, so that was disappointing all the way around. The very first cut in today was the fastest cut of the day, and it was slower than yesterday's fastest cut. And that is, I feel, 100% because I was so keen on making sure it was rich that I had that high jet turned a full turn richer than it was whenever I stopped yesterday. And I thought I'd be able to find it and tune it in right and everything, and couldn't do it. And sadly, it seems like it's still got an air leak. So in today's video, it kept getting slower and slower to the point to where one of the cuts took me almost 30 seconds to cut with the 357, whereas yesterday it was consistently doing 24 seconds in the cut. And there's no way that what I did slowed it down. It's a combination of not having the right tune, and that's probably because it probably does have an air leak. At this point, I think I definitely need a different set of eyes on it, because this has been in my hands for far too long, and I am seeing the same thing over and over again, and you just get tunnel vision. And so, Super Dave, if you want to take a look at this thing and try and figure out where it's leaking air, you would be my hero. And God, got to get this thing right, because I can't sell it if it's just a pile of shit that keeps on having an air leak. Disappointing. Very, very disappointing.